Hi all, let's have a look at very entertaining gameplay at the British Championship in round 2. Jack Rudd, who is a very volatilely rated IM, he's currently rated 2236, making him one of the lowest rated IMs in the country. He's got these up and down moments, let's put it like that. But he got to 3 out of 3, and unfortunately he lost yesterday versus Adams. But in round 2 there was a real gem. And I can only describe this as a sort of lawnmower checkmate tactic. So he was playing white, he played d4. Now when you mow the lawn, you usually mow it in vertical strips. You know, you want to cover the whole lawn, and you want to create these nice strips sometimes if you have a lawn, if you know what I mean. So we'll see how this this happened. It's fascinating. So c5 d5, and Andrew Greek, he closes up the position, kind of check Benoni, and maybe later he might try for f5 or b5. That's the usual sort of counterplay ideas. So e4 was played. Now g3, which is kind of solid, and maybe white supporting f4 later. So black fianchettos as well. So far very standard. 98 preparing actually f5. So there's two ways black usually gets counterplay, either playing for the c4 pawn or the e4 pawn, this undermining strategy. So rook b1, white's also got an undermining strategy, maybe open up the b file. Looks to be nothing to do with the black king, does it? How can this rook on b1 possibly be used for a king attack later? Well, we'll see. f5. Now knight g5 coming into e6. Black doesn't seem to mind this. Sometimes black's picking up the e6 pawn after, if that's the case. And in fact here black can immediately protect e6 with his own knight with knight c7, which is dual purpose potentially, because maybe a6 b5, it's also supporting that b5 classic counterplay. But e takes f5 was played, and now we have the start of the prelude to lawnmower, because how are we going to mow the lawn here with the lawnmower? The lawnmower is going to have to go up here and cover these two strips of our garden. So how on earth will Jack Rudd manage to get rooks and stuff on these two parts of the lawn? Well, he plays f4 first, encouraging black to play e4, and now he can kick his g pawn out of the way. He wants to get the g pawn out of the way and switch a resource on the g file. So he plays g4, undermining e4. So it's good in its own right. Not let alone the king safety aspect. It's good to just undermine black's centre. Knight b6, countering on c4, kind of logically. Is white prepared to play a passive move to defend c4? No. He carries on. He plays g takes f5, just attacking e4, undermining that, taking on e4. Note, you'll see that this vacates the g2 square, and now black weakens his own king kind of considerably for a bit of structure, which is sometimes a very bad decision against particularly tactical players. When you damage their pawn structure but give them active pieces, that's often a bad mistake. So bishop takes c3. Maybe this is good in the structural sense, but it's giving this rook now potential to come to g2, and now we start to see the lawnmower pattern really emerge. So queen f6, no passive defensive move to defend c3. It's not even needed anyway. Imagine this bishop on this diagonal is going to be a monster anyway. So rook b2 was played. Forget about c3, forget about c4, it's not that important. Rook a e8, the important thing is to get the rook on the g file. So we've got the start of our lawnmower setup. So what do we need to do next if we're going to checkmate the king with this lawnmower tactic? We need to somehow get rid of the h7 obstacle and get another resource on the h file somehow. So how is this going to be arranged? Well, king h7 was played, not suspecting white's next move. I hope you can spot it with the clues so far. I'll give you 5 seconds to think about this position, starting from now. Okay, Jack played knight takes h7, so he's clearing away that h7 pawn. The two lawnmower strips are really well prepared now. G and H file. I want to clear out h7, so bishop takes, and black played now king takes h7. And now black is lost. Technically it's a mate in either 8 or even 7. Jack's move is attractive, very attractive, but there's also another very simple way of approaching the position which I'll show you later in a bit. Let's first look at Jack's continuation. Queen d3 check. So what happens here? Well, surely, you know, the black queen can defend, you think. Well, queen f5, and you think, well, this is snuffing out the attack, isn't it? You know, where's the white queen going now? There's no access to h3. But there is access to g3, and you might think, well, what's the big deal about that? The big deal about this, it threatens mate, not just on g7, but also queen h4 check, and the queen is in no position to interpose to block that check. So the queen actually defended the h4 pawn, h4 square rather, with queen f6. But now, here's a really, really nice move. Because you'll spot now that queen h3, there's queen h6. So Jack simply plays f5. And the lawnmower is really ready to finish the black king off here. All we need now is this check, because this bishop's now on h6. It's a tactical disaster. So black decides, well, maybe h4 can be used to defend. He tokenly plays rook e4. Tokenly because now white simply plays bishop f4, and it's only delaying the inevitable mating attack now. Rook takes f4, because then there'll be like just rook takes f4 and the rook can switch. So here, after bishop f4, black actually resigned. So I thought that was an incredible piece of engineering on the G and H files, from a position which you know, almost straight after the opening, you know, after black decided to make that decision for structure, you know, bishop takes c3, he weakened his king just a little bit, and these G and H files, you know, sprung to life. So let's have a quick look at that again, and then we'll look at another continuation which was also possible with the same kind of lawnmower tactic. So f5, and it all looks as though, you know, this is just on a bog standard game so far, but f4, now these pawns are like fixed, and e4 in particular is now the target to undermine. But we also have this implication of the G file opening up. So G takes F, undermining e4, and also opening up now the semi-open G file, no, the full open G file. Black doesn't really help his cause with this bishop takes c3 move. So he's giving access for this rook, which was on the queen side potentially, to come right to the king side with this nice transfer with rook b2. And rook g2, so if bishop takes, it's now knight takes, will be check, winning the queen. And now this beautiful tactic, knight takes h7. So it seems, even though, you know, white's pawn structure is wretched, you know, the tactics against black king are absolutely lethal here. Bishop takes, king takes. Now, okay, so here's a pop quiz question. What was the most elegant way of finishing off the black king here? I checked this with Ribka, of course I didn't work this out myself. What do you think I am, a tactical genius or something? No, not queen d3 check, which, well, Jack's played queen d3 check, but when you look at this looks dead simple as well, if you can spot it. But just actually queen h5 check is possible here. And you wouldn't really think this is that logical, but to exchange off queens, because in this particular position, here now, rook f3 is lethal. Again with this lawnmower trick, so the G and H files being used to mate the black king. And this would only be delaying the inevitable, this check here. So there's no defence. Look at these poor knights stranded on the queen side. So that was another continuation, which just would be a bit more optimal to the continuation of the game. But the game continuation I found very attractive as well, switching, you know, temporarily to g3 with this dual threat of queen h4 and queen g7, and now this very attractive, you know, f5, again igniting queen h3 as a major threat because the bishop's now on h6, and now there's bishop f4.
again igniting queen h3 as a threat, because the rook is now blocked from defending h4, so there's no like rook h4, queen h4. Fantastic game with that memorable tactic, in my opinion. Please leave any comments or questions on YouTube. Thanks very much.